RealAgriculture.com's coverage of the 2011 Farm Progress Show in Regina is brought to you by Morris. So what's a mistake that you see farmers making on the farm in regards to electrical safety?
The old adage of look up and live. We're still getting a lot of people contacting the overhead power line with vehicles and equipment. Vehicles and equipment electrical contacts is number one killer of people when it comes to that. Grain bins, grain augers, high clearance sprayers, we're getting 2 or 3 contacts a year like that.
So what does it usually come down to? People just not slowing down and sort of thinking about their environment, or what's causing it?
I don't think it's not slowing down. I think it's just a lack of awareness. They're just not self-aware. They're not looking for the hazards that they face every time they're working. They just forget about it, and that's bad.
So what are some of the things that you see a lot? Like you've done a lot of demonstrations here. Is electricity kind of that silent killer, or that?
Yeah, I see the men still have the attitude that they're invincible, and when I do the demonstration, it's the women that pay more attention because they don't understand the hazards, and they're made more aware, I find, and I think they're passing the message on.
So do you think farmers think they understand electrical safety?
Well, a lot of them do, yeah, and they've got a lot of misconceptions.
Okay, so what are some of those misconceptions?
Some of the misconceptions are how close they can get or how far the power will jump. Virtually you can't tell that. That's impossible to tell because it depends on humidity, barometric pressure, how good the ground is, all of that stuff.
So what are some examples? How far can it go? Like, what have you seen?
I've seen in my career, I've seen probably a 10-foot arc.
10-foot arc?
Yeah. And yet I've seen 6 inches, or less. Sometimes you have to make contact with it to draw that arc. Yeah. So it just depends on all those conditions I just named.
So you said arcing, so what are some of the other possible misconceptions?
That they have to jump, they get excited when they make contact with the power line, and they jump out of the vehicle and start running, and that can be fatal. That's huge. When I do the demonstration, I really stress that instead of leaving the equipment attached to the power line or touching the power line, is if they can drive away from the power line or back away or lower the equipment from inside the vehicle, that's the very best thing to do.
So don't jump?
No, don't jump. Stay inside the vehicle's number 2 safe rule. If you stayed inside the vehicle, we all got 5 days worth of groceries on us. We'll survive for 5 days at least.
Right. So how far, I guess as far away as you can drive as possible, or is there a rule?
Sure, if you can drive away so that you're clearing the power line, it's no longer providing a path for the current to flow to ground. You've just removed the hazard. That's what makes it safe for you. Drive it away, back it away, or lower it. And if you can't do that, stay in the vehicle.
Use your cell phone, call for help.
Right. A lot of the farmers today are carrying cell phones. Some have CB antennas. You can still use that from inside the vehicle. A CB radio or cell phone. You can open the door. You can open the window. You can do anything you want in there.
Yeah. How about in the farmyard? Yeah, you talked about it like in the field. What about in the farmyard? What are some of the things you see happening in the farmyard in terms of electrical safety?
People are forgetting that they got the pole or the transformer in the yard. They just want to get up to the shop to work on it. So they're actually making contact with it. Our number 1 contact is actually guys loading bins in the farmyard. So locate your grain bins well away from the power line.
So they're running the auger around, going to get it put in the bin,
and they make contact. And that's huge for us. We have a lot of contacts with grain augers and grain bins.
So what usually happens in that situation?
I've seen death and I've seen serious injury out of there.
How many electrical deaths on farms is there in Saskatchewan or in Canada in a year?
Well, in Saskatchewan in 2005, we had 10 critical injuries involving electricity and 5 fatalities. So SaskPower decided to build this display that you see, and in 2010 we had 0 critical injuries and 0 fatalities. So I feel that this display is getting the message out there to be safe around power lines.
Well, good for you guys.
Yeah.
So where was that number 10 years ago?
10 years ago, it's cyclical. On the average, we were getting about 3 deaths a year.
So what makes it cyclical?
Go ahead.
What makes it cyclical? Why would something like this have cycles?
I think it depends on the year and the type of harvest they're having. If everybody's thinking they got to go hard and go fast, we'll get more contacts. But if the year is dry and it's easy to get the crop off, then we get less contacts.